Hello and welcome to Tint Wisdom number 100. Today we're joined with Ricky and Joshua Miller from Green Valley Window Tinting. We just lost.
I'm back.
Yep. Okay, you're back. We also have Kyle Fuller from Tint Pro in Georgia. We have Sal and Michelle from Sal's House of Tint in San Marcos, Texas, and we have Sid. We don't have Sid and Josh, right? Just Sid.
Josh is coming on board, but I'm on right now.
Okay, there you are, and your video's back.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Sid from Genesis Window Tinting in Sacramento, California. And then we don't have John from Sun Tamers, but we might have him if things get better. Welcome.
How's it going? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks all for doing this. You know, I don't know if we should, you know, what everybody had in mind to discuss, but one thing I wanted to throw out there was kind of a fresh topic that came up right before this Tint Wisdom, and it was like Sal's House of Tint being featured in Solar Guard's new magazine. So kind of wanted to bring that up, just put it out there because it might be a resource whether you're a Solar Guard dealer or not. It's a really well put together magazine, and it's the first time I've seen it. So I don't know, what was it like being part of that? Do you like, I don't know.
Okay. Our dog is barking.
That's okay.
No, it was cool. It was actually kind of like picking up from a feature that they did on us like maybe a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So this is their newest. It's like their dealer network digital publication. So it's really kind of spread amongst the dealers. But yeah, it was cool. Like after when Sal won the tint off in 2017, Solar Guard sent out a photographer to our shop, and we basically shut the whole shop down for a day, a big photo shoot. Is that John? So they used some photos from that and some photos of some recent installs that we did. So
that part of it, like you taking the time to do what you need to do to be a part of it and do those shoots originally. Like I would think dealer participation, something that manufacturers wish they had more of. And did you feel like it was kind of a burden and interruption of business, or did you feel like it's completely worth it? Because you did one before. Was it something that you've been able to leverage in your consumer marketing and so on?
Yeah, for sure. It's totally worth it. I mean, having professional photography and professional images is always going to be valuable. So shutting down the shop for a day, sacrificing that for having photos that we were then able to use for, you know, all of our purposes. So, yeah.
Great. Like
totally
I would imagine if I get a bid from 2 different Solar Guard dealers for my house and I see the professional photos from Solar Guard and that tight like affiliation, I see that on your website, I see it maybe on print marketing material, to me that would definitely be like what would completely push me towards it. Because if I know you have manufacturers like recognition, to me that shows that you must know what you're doing. It's impossible that they're aligning themselves with somebody who's not a good representation of their brand. So that's pretty cool that they're doing it.
Definitely helps in the credibility department. So.
Cool. So Ricky, Josh, what's the word?
No, it's same thing, different day. You know.
You guys are Solar Guard dealers too, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the main reason why after our last podcast, the next day, like actually as soon as we got off, I started talking with my brother, and I said, "Dude, we need to get a roundtable together of everyone that we went and did." Kyle was the one who kind of approached us with it. Window Film Mag came to him after his original story, which I'll kick it to him and let him get more in detail with it. But
whose phone's dinging? Like, is there any way?
Sid, is that your phone?
It just might be the entire hour or two. I don't know.
Let me put everything I have on mute.
But no, after we got off our podcast with you, I thought about it. In February, Kyle invited us out to his grand opening of his. He opened up a new building, moved into a new building, and wanted to have us out for like a networking seminar, get together, workshop. You know, kind of like all the above type thing. Yeah, to get hands on with each other, to where we could actually get hands on vehicles, on flat glass, clear bra, auto. And it was actually a pretty hot topic when the magazine came out, was the picture on the front of the magazine with me and Sid. But no, after that last podcast, I wanted to have us all together to talk about just networking, and off of what actually your last podcast you just did yesterday. I caught the tail end of it when his name's Haas, if I'm not mistaken. He was talking about how he doesn't have competition. He has like-minded people that he works with, that he wants to grow and stuff like that. So as soon as I heard him say that, it's the exact same thing that we kind of got together, that we wanted to make it a yearly thing. And we're hoping we still can do that. Thankfully, I think the Tint Off will kind of be that for us this year, because the majority of us all go to the Tint Off together. And since it's happening in January now, it'll be almost a year since we did it. But I'll kick this to Kyle and let him explain it way better than I just did.
No, so just to kind of give a little background, I've been tinting for 19 years this year, and when I got into this industry, I knew nothing outside of Middle Georgia. It was literally everything was self-taught within the shop that I worked in at that time. And 2013, I decided to open my own storefront. And when I was opening my own storefront, it just became one of those things. It's like, I need to do more. Everything I'm learning, everything that has gotten me to this point just wasn't enough for me. And so I started kind of reaching out. I started getting with some of the bigger vendors that I could just get in front of. Started landing some big jobs, and I actually came across the Panorama program for Solar Guard, and I also came across the conference and everything that year. And I think we lost Sid there, but I came across the conference that year, and man, I didn't know that there was this whole world of window tinting outside of my area, and I just started reaching out to people. I actually saw Sid sitting up on a panel. I was sitting in the audience, and I saw Sid up on the panel, and I approached him after he got done talking and had a few questions for him. Me and him just, started, connecting immediately. And he's in California, I'm in Georgia. And we just started kind of spitballing ideas, and I incorporated a bunch of things that he had put in my head into my shop. He flew out to my shop, checked me out, helped me with a few things, him being a way larger shop at the time. I ended up, we ended up going out to his shop. We landed a pretty cool job while I was out there, which was really cool. I would never people of just take a little bit of everybody I meet. I went out to can you hear me?
It was getting a little.
I went out to Las Vegas for the first time ever, and my first day out there, I decided instead of going out and about, I actually went to see, Josh. I told him there, and day just became friends with him, and everybody that's been meeting along, we've just been taking.
Hold on, real quick.
Learning.
On my end, we're getting like really bad, like almost unhearable. I don't know how everybody else is how it's coming through to them, but I'm not sure. Something like, I almost feel like there's a phone next to the computer. It's like causing. I'm trying to diagnose what could be causing the noise, but I don't know. But we got to fix it. Just because I don't know. I couldn't hear anything. It's something causing an interference that wasn't there before. It's like a phone ringing. Sometimes will do it. If it's like a phone ringing next to a computer, stuff like that'll hit the Bluetooth. And
can you hear me now?
Say it
I have
again.
a secondary little Sid thing up there too. It just went away.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's try.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. But no, just basically since 2013, as I've been meeting people, I've just been kind of bringing them into this group of people that I just run ideas off of. I feel like we all have our own values. I met Sid in West Palm Beach. We were walking to registration and just struck up a conversation. I was walking with some of my employees, and we all just kind of caught in conversation. Next thing you know, we're eating dinner that night, just talking about different things. They found out that he just, made finalists and everything. And, you just meet good people along the way, and you build an amazing network with like-minded people that just want the same thing. It's just been an amazing thing. Reaching out or talking about what we did back in February, after meeting all these people and incorporating all their ideas into my own store. We went from I think like a 1,700 square foot, my first storefront, to 5,000 square feet. Hired a bunch more people, doing a bunch more work, and just learning every day. I learn from these guys. I tell them all the time. I was watching some of Rick's stuff on Facebook the other day, and I've been getting kind of lazy in the morning. Next thing you know, I'm waking up, about an hour or two early and chasing off to a flat glass tint job. It's you feed off of the people around you, and it's all positive energy. And I just love these guys. They're like family. I make sure I call them. I call them every couple weeks when I can, after dinner or whatever, kind of harass them a little bit. But they're all good folks here.
Yeah, so that's the thing about like the value of a network is, we can all relate with getting better over time. Like when you start something new, you get better and better and better, but you can take like giant leaps when you learn from each other that might have taken you decades to learn. And instead of learning them when you're their 30th year in the business or 20th year in the business, you can learn it from somebody else that is in their 20 or 30th year, and you might only be in your third or fourth year. And however that relates to, but it's like, to me, it's like skipping steps on the playing board, on the chessboard. You learn from other people, and you can make moves that you just didn't even know existed.
Sure.
Agreed.
So SolarGuard has a rather strong network, wouldn't you say?
Yes. I think there's like 2,200 dealers or something nationally, or North America's.
Yeah. And then they do, an annual dealer meeting and a Facebook group. And I think between all that, a lot of us that are in the same dealer network have become pretty close, and like we can call each other up for whatever. And
now, mind you, too, me and Sid met. Sid is Lumar, and that was one of my favorite things when me and him got together. Is we had no brand connection. We were not necessarily competitors on every level, but we didn't have the same comparisons. That's actually kind of one of my favorite things too, because I'll call Sid when I'm competing against like a Lumar bid, and I'm like, hey, I need to understand your product, and he'll help me understand it. I've helped him understand, some of the SolarGuard products. I've had questions across the board for everybody that sells different products that I sell. It's one of those things. It's going to teach you, if you can learn about everybody else's stuff as much as you can, it helps you with what you're trying to move. So,
Sid, if you can hit that camera button, I want to bring you up on screen. Just because people are referring.
I can see him.
So on my end, I see just the Skype. I'm not sure why I have that Skype loading.
I can see you, but I think you're muted.
Yeah, I can see him. Can't hear him. Yeah, I can't hear him. Muted.
Yeah, you have a mute thing next.
I had the mute on because it was we had some interference going on. But can you hear me?
Yep, I can see you and hear you now too.
Oh, all good.
Beautiful.
I would I'd basically echo everything that everyone said. I mean, this is just a very comfortable platform. We can talk to everybody openly, touch on subjects that are kind of taboo, even inside our own shop, but when we get on the phone, I see Kyle, Sal, Michelle, Josh, and Ricky. It's just comfort, and even from day one when we met, it was Kyle and I that first met. But as I met everybody else on, he has a very like mind. He's growth minded. and not only just growth in the business, but personal growth minded as an individual, as a father and so forth. So we just, and then I admire all the guys that are and gals. I mean, of course, Michelle too. So everybody who's involved, I admire everybody because everybody has just this little things about them that you learn that's unique. And then they're also in the same industry as you. And they also kind of want the same things as you. And they want to see you win too. So it's just like an unstoppable combination of people that can get along and provide each other with that support. Because sometimes it is product. Sometimes it's to be real, it's moral support, just to know that somebody else does the exact same thing as me all the time on the other side of the globe or the other side of the map, and we're all on the same page. So it's the comfort, it's the trust, and it's the experience that we have here. It's like a master class, but we're all teaching each other for free, and it's all to everybody's benefit. So yeah, it's been great.
So, as dealers, would you want to be part of, like, if Solar Guard came out and said, hey, we're going to do a monthly like video hangout, like a drop in or like a Zoom where, it could be 100 dealers are in there. It could be a couple hundred. It could be whatever. Like, would that be something you'd want to do monthly to, I guess, further connect in the network, or not so much?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anyone who's willing to, I would say, want to join something like that and get on there for the right reasons. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love going to the Panorama meeting so much, and also the Tint Off. But the Panorama meeting, like, we're all selling the same product, and yeah, we're all in different states and stuff. But at the same time, you're able to bounce those ideas off each other, and you're all there for the common goal to better the industry. To help provide the feedback on the product, to help hopefully give them something that maybe produce a new product, a better product, or better marketing. No, something like that, I'd be totally in for.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely feel like. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, this just feels like a digital almost extension or an idea like that, or even what we're doing right now. Especially in the COVID era, being able to use the internet to our advantage. Anybody out there that hasn't been to one of those dealer meetings for a Tint-Off, and you're hesitant about spending the money to do it, I guarantee it'll be worth it. Just that one connection that Kyle made with Sid, and then I don't know. I'm a real big fan of the saying, your network is your network, right? Like, your network is your network. And if you can get a bunch of people in your network that already have, like you were saying earlier, somebody that has 30 years experience doing something, maybe you've only got 5. I'm learning stuff from a person with 5 that's got the YouTube channel that, there's so much to learn, and there's so much knowledge out there. And if you can find people that are like-minded that you can work well with, and now with stuff like this, you don't have to fly to Florida, you can figure out a way to do it and still have the conversation.
So who here?
I'm a big fan of that idea.
Who here does like morning meetings? Hold on. Is there anybody that's kind of like in a windy area potentially? It's gotten really windy. Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So my question being, or like maybe a really strong AC or fan, but I don't know. I'm just saying because it's just really loud. I just know that people are not going to be able to listen, so I just rather clear it out. Okay. Question is, who here does like a morning meeting, whether it be once a week, like a Monday morning meeting, or does anybody do like start of the day? How does the day start for the crew of people? Or does it start at a certain time? Does it start with everybody together? How does that, look?
I try to. We've had a lot going on. Obviously, this year is a weird year. We moved into our new shop in January. We actually got a conference room now to where I can sit down my whole staff. We've had a few new hires that just haven't made it. So I think constantly this year has been changing. Within the past 5 weeks, we've actually hired a guy that has no experience, already tinting windows now. He's been a blessing so far. And then I just got another window tinter, an actual window tinter with 5 years experience in that just moved here from out of state. So I think whenever everything's constantly changing, you should touch on those subjects, you need to kind of bring everybody together and go ahead and hit those topics. But I think when things are smooth, the morning meeting can get a little redundant and people kind of feel like they're getting talked at instead of talked to. But we tend to do breakfast most every morning. Every morning that we're in the shop, I'll get the guys together. I think at least, 2-3 times a week, I just buy everybody breakfast. We all kind of sit down and we talk about what's going on in the shop. Usually if it's positive, if it's negative, I've noticed that, people don't really like to get called out, and it hasn't been beneficial necessarily most topics. So I try to just pull them aside and have those conversations. But I don't think I really have too much of a formal meeting lately. But we do get everyone together, kind of pull them away from what they're doing, whether someone's off tinting a car, someone's doing PPF, whatever, just kind of get them all in the same room and, hopefully try to have a positive start to the day. But not necessarily like just this is our meeting at this time, and that's been working for our shop pretty well lately. So. But.
What about everybody else?
Something that I would say that we've done here and there, something probably we need to improve on. But like same thing, on the same kind of basis like Kyle's saying, not necessarily much like a set meeting every morning or something like that. But I do see the benefits when we have kind of been on the same page more. If anything, do like maybe a weekly crew meeting, and then beyond that, monthly full team meeting, get all the different crews together, talk about what's going on. But have those small little individual meetings in between the autumn, for us at least, automotive crew, and then we have our flat glass crews, and then we have our graphics department. Not something we've dabbled in the past, and it's something I definitely will admit that we need to work on and do more of, because it definitely is beneficial when the times that we're able to do it.
We are the only two employees at House of Tint, and we live and work together, so we're like in a perpetual meeting.
My business meeting don't end, brother.
Right. But we do normally kind of do like our recap of what's happening the next day, the evening, like just get in the mindset, this is what's going to happen, this is what has to happen, and then, kind of hit the ground running the next day.
I guess internally we'll get together once a month when Michelle's like, okay, this month is put, we're on to the next one. We're going to compare business stuff, but it's the entire aspect of what we've got going on that we look at together, which would be more of like not a company employee meeting, but more like company head meeting. Let's talk about the important stuff that normally you wouldn't just share with an employee. Well, here we just kind of recap.
So, just like a couple things from like my own take on meetings. I definitely can understand like you don't want to do a meeting too often to where it feels like it's redundant, you feel like it's a waste of time and so on. And I think like, keeping them really, really short and goal oriented is important. But like, because if you try to do those meetings, and if you ever find yourself saying like, okay, I want everybody to come in with 2 questions or 2 suggestions, like that is a waste of everybody's time. Sometimes there's nothing to be said, but I think you can really benefit is if you say, hey, last week we scheduled 42 consultations. That's about 8 a day. This week, I want to schedule 50. Let's hit the 50 mark. Let's average 10 a day. Let's do what we can. Every day, let's hit that 10 mark to make sure we hit it. And what's probably going to happen is you might have a 10, you might hit a 7 day, and then you're going to have like a 16 day. Or maybe they go back through old leads because they're trying to hit that number 10, and they go, hey, I actually got some people back from the old leads. Like, I didn't realize that they were still interested. And like those little types of like, benchmarks. And I think also, depending on the crew, just that energy in the morning, that couple minutes of acknowledgement that this is the start of the day, let's go, this is what we're going to do today and this week, can really make a difference over it just feeling like a day. Because sometimes people can feel like another day, because people can sometimes have that sort of like, well, I can waste the first 30 minutes making coffee, and then I can this and that. The smaller the crew you are, I think the less likely that is. But as you get bigger, just keeping everybody on that same page and pace, even once a week or once a month,
I got a question for Sid on that one. Sid, being that you have multiple locations, are you trying to keep both locations on the same page, or is that kind of like two different entities? Do you even try to make the employees from the one location understand what's going on at the other one, or is it?
Is that a loaded question, my friend?
No, I was just
I'll tell you,
it's one of those things. No, because I don't know if you have if your employees work at both locations. I know that
they do.
a while back,
Yeah.
I know that Nick used to do clear bra at both of them,
Mhm.
but I just I didn't know if they were kind of like two different entities, since they're an hour away. If these people just work at this shop, these people just work at this shop, or just everybody's working for Genesis Goal. I was curious.
It's challenging.
I never asked you that.
Good. Yeah, good question. Good question, man. It's so the short answer is to the exact question is we don't do morning meetings on a regular basis. We have not put it on the schedule to do because what's happened, especially this year, but last year it was just a different issue that we were dealing with. This year, of course, we know what we're dealing with. So it's we've had people out. We've had to be able to cover different locations, like that Nick had hurt us back, and so Nick was covering both locations, and then Nate was covering for Nick down in Elk Grove and doing some flat glass and so forth. So what's been good for me is that at least, so what I've done with the employees, at least in, or what Josh and I have decided to do, and we've done a good job of sticking to it, is do one-on-ones. So we'll do at least once a month a one-on-one where employee comes in and we just talk to them for half an hour to an hour just to get in front of any issues, what they're thinking about. My wife was pregnant, and like James, for instance, his wife is pregnant. She's due or they're both due in November. That's something we've got to get in front of. And we need to be able to see, well, that's James. Well, how does that impact Nick? Because Nick's his backup for PPF. And so we have an overall goal, but it's not in terms of like a whole Genesis goal, like, hey, we have X number of cards and X number of paint protections we want to hit. We've recently, and we haven't spoke about this, Kyle, but we recently set up goals based on a point system. And I've shared that. So monthly, we do have calls. Lumar has what they call their SPG. It's their, I don't know what the S stands for. I think it's special or secret or something, but S, peer group meeting. So SPG, I don't know, but we do have this peer group meeting monthly. We get on a call similar to this, but we don't do Skype. I think this is great being able to see the faces. But we do just do a call. It's all over audio. And we kind of talk about different ideas and kind of similar to this and what we do. But what I was getting at is that we've came up with a way to be able to quantify, what is a target for an individual. People are very much goal driven. So if you say, hey, just show up to work every single day and just kick butt every single day in and day out, they're going to get, how many days can I go 125%? Me, no problem. Some of my other guys, he has a wife that's pregnant calling him like, hey, honey, when are you going to be home? Or the other one has a brand new baby, or the kids, or soccer practice, wherever the case may be. They have their home life and their work life. So to be able to understand a little bit of that, I think that helps, because then they see that they're not just an employee. They see that you see them as an individual. And so then when you do give them that feedback, whether it's on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis, they take it to heart and they really try to hit those goals. So I've seen in the last 2 months that we've been doing that, it's made pretty big difference. You said, though, is it different for Elk Grove and Roseville? And the answer is yes. Right now it is. And we are going into the larger store in the new location. So there's a lot more to consider now, because everybody wants to know what's going on in Elk Grove. Well, what's going on in Elk Grove? When do I get to work in Elk Grove? And that sort of thing. So again, we're trying to get in front of what I think is going to happen is, how come Elk Grove has the new lift? How come Elk Grove has this? When are we going to paint Roseville? When are we, so I can see that happening. And so I think that when people understand what the plan is overall, they don't need to know, the secrets, the Sal and Michelle, the secrets that you guys have at top level executive meeting. They don't need that part. But they do need to have overall goals to say, okay, we're looking to grow flat glass by this %, and this is what it means to you as an individual. So we've been careful about not putting things on our schedule or committing to meetings, we're basically lying in a sense. I don't even like saying that word, but if we say, hey, we're going to do this next week, Monday, every Monday, we're going to have meetings, and we miss one, well, then that's the talk of the day. Oh man, we're missing meetings. I missed the meeting. So what we've done now is that we've been able to commit to one-on-one meetings for every staff once a month. And that's what our commitment has been thus far.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I've missed several of those meetings. I did set that up for a while, and it backfired, like you just said. So
and you mean the best. It's like you and they know that you're busy. It's not like this week. And so I'll be completely transparent and truthful. So this Tuesday was Matt's monthly meeting, and so Nate just bought a house, and he was off on Tuesday, so it was just me, one tinter, and front desk. So it's not, and we have a full schedule like normal. It's impossible for me to stop at 9 o'clock in the morning and have a 1 hour meeting with Matt. It's just impossible. But at the end of the day, he just kind of looked at me. He's like, hey, Sid, so I guess we're not going to meet this week. And I'm like, dude, like, man, do you want to stay an extra hour today? And we can definitely meet. But it's just, you would think that they would understand it automatically. But remember, it's like they are looking forward to this meeting just to be able to say whatever they need to say to get off the chest. And if you don't give them the opportunity, then it goes right back in the backpack or in their bag, and then they carry it with them to the next, or it can turn negative if they don't get a chance to express themselves.
Sid, what are the biggest challenges you're facing right now, like over that you're looking at the next 3 months? You're probably looking from now to December, and you're looking at what's next year going to look like for you. You come across to me like you're working at 160% right now. Like this moment, you just look like you have a lot going on with your business, and it's probably really busy and doing well. So I'm just curious, like what, and I'm guessing, but I just feel like it's doing well and you're busy and you love it. What are the things that are challenging you right now in your business?
I would say right now we have a new build. So we've been on the lease for a very long time in our Elk Grove. We have 2 locations. So we have the Elk Grove shop. We have a Roseville shop. They're about an hour apart, distance-wise driving. And so we're building out. I mean, the current shop right now is they're separated. So if you imagine a business park, and it has 2 rows of suites. In the very front, we have our primary shop, was our original shop, and that's like 3,400 square feet. And then we have the back shop that is just under 5,000 square feet. And we got that because the landlord was in lightweight threatening us, saying, hey, I got this wrap shop that wants to come in, and they're looking at this space back here. And, we're just like, oh, we'll take it. And so we expanded there, and timing wasn't good. So anyways, we're finally, and what that did when we separated into 2 shops, you had half of the staff working in the back, but management is up in the front and support is in the front. And even though it's a 5-minute walk, it really separated things. You can't easily say, hey man, I'm working on this clear bra, somebody grab this, I'm doing this wrap, somebody hold this side up. You couldn't do that. So we're doing complete build out. We signed lease about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, I want to say. And so that's what we're currently dealing with now, is just all the complexity of that. And yeah, so that's really it. That and the fact that we have 2 of our primary installers that are expecting new babies, which is exciting because, I love the babies, but how that brings in challenges and whatnot. But we have 2 people doing that. And then and then everybody has kids that doesn't, if they're not expecting, they have kids, and they're dealing with Corona and having to school the kids at home and set them up on Skype and that, or set them up on Zoom or whatever. So we're dealing more with the things that employees are dealing with at home. That would be the secondary challenge, and the primary challenge is coordinating everything for this new shop.
Clear.
Sid, I got a question.
Yes.
When you do that one-on-one counseling, we've been talking about actually setting something more formal like that. Because my military background, we had a monthly counseling that you had to do for your soldiers, and it was like you go over what was supposed to happen for the month, any deficiencies, how you're going to work on them, and then when you do it again next month, you'd come back to that same form and go, okay, how do we do as far as our goals for this month? That's how you started. Do you have a form like that you're using, or you have something like that you've developed, or is it more just like an informal?
What I do, literally, and I'm using this right now, and I'm going to show you. So it's just like this. That's what I do. You probably can't read the print, but Lenny's name is at the top, and then I write the things that she's been successful on. I write the things that I've seen that she needs improvement on, and I say, hey, this is what we need to work on. Are there any obstacles? And she'll tell me, yeah, there's obstacles, and sometimes it's not. Things don't need to be worked on. It's not always a target. It's just saying, like, who is Josh? You know, what is going on with you? You know, when you have a number of people, you just start getting used to, hey, what's going on, Josh? Good morning. Hey, Kyle, see you later. See you tomorrow. That sort of thing. And it's so casual that you start having that connection with someone. I don't want to be necessarily their best friends. A lot of the guys are my friends because I respect them. I like what they do. But I'm not seeking friendship at that time. I'm seeking to be able to say, hey, I'm stability. And, you know, I represent stability. I represent a paycheck. I represent someone that you could speak to from a, not an authority figure, but from just stability, right? And so you could speak to me, and what stays in this room stays in this room. And sometimes the conversations, you be interested, you know, once you get past the, you start getting ahead of things, you know, like, well, you know, this guy was saying this, and I try not to make it a, well, what's this guy doing? What this person is, but it's given me really good insight into my shop. This last one that was really telling, I mean, to answer your question, Josh, is no, I do not have a specific form, but I do follow a format that I've kind of developed. If it was a form, I would be very happy to use one, because I think that we'll find that we probably will come up with the same things with the check-ins, you know, whether the obstacles, whether the opportunities, you know, give them an open mic to kind of talk and set a time frame. And I think that's very important too, because the first time I did it, oh man, we were talking beyond an hour. I'm like, dude, you got to get back on this car. And I'm cutting them off in the middle of the most important part of the conversation. So now it's more, we come in, we have a half an hour. The first, you know, X amount of minutes, we're talking about what happened last week or what happened last month, whatever the case is. Then we go to opportunities, and then we go to kind of open mic. And each employee doing that, I have 3 employees that I meet with to do that with, the 3 employees at the Roseville store. And then Josh and DJ, they tackle everybody at the Oak Grove store.
Okay. Thank you.
Kyle, what about you? What do you look like? What are you looking at? Biggest problem in your next 3 to 6 months when you look forward?
My thing is, since I've been in my shop, or been a shop owner, storefront owner with employees, I've never really been interested in training. Training was one of those things that was just something I really never wanted to do. I always tried to hire, and I'd always get, people would bring their bad habits into my shop. Since I've kind of let go of that mentality, actually talked into Rick and Josh. They've kind of opened my eyes on it. They're always training in house, and they tell me about how quick people are picking up, and they're only picking up the good traits that they're teaching them. And I finally found a good candidate to hire in and teach from the ground up. And within 5 weeks, he's really gun ho to get after everything. He's already tinting windows. It's been kind of an eye opener. It took me a long time to let go of that, and it's going to be really nice to get in. The guy that I just hired, that's a window tinter. He's only ever done plotter cut. He's never hand cut anything. Been tinting windows 5 years, never hand cut a window. And so I'm going to, have the opportunity to teach him how I want it done, not what he's learned somewhere else. So
on his car, right?
Yeah. But no, my obstacles for me have really been just kind of taking that mindset. I have a great office person that runs my front office. I'm not technologically savvy. If you text me, I'm going to call you. I don't do computers. I hate electronics.
That's funny because you have your background blurred. Like you came in with a headset, you have your background blurred, which made me think you've done this before. And I thought you were the most
No,
technologically savvy out of the group joining. I'm like, this guy's got his shit
it's
together. You were in here.
presentation, man. It's presentation.
So you
No,
say you're
but
not technologically savvy, but what does it take to be savvy? You did everything savvy. I think you are. Whether you just don't want
It's
to.
also very humble.
all right, yeah. I'm glad I come across that way. I'll take it. But no, I've been letting my team this year. I've been letting my team help me. My front office person, she has simplified a lot of tasks for me, setting up, different ways to keep track of all of our receipts, setting up different ways to send out invoices. I've always, it's been my baby. I've been doing this for 19 years and just slowly. Hold on, let me plug my phone in. It's about to die. But I haven't ever let go of the reins, and since I've been letting go of things, it's been helping my business. So I guess just keep letting everyone do their jobs, and as long as they're doing them right, just keep having some icons pop up, but just letting them do their jobs, letting them be successful at it, letting them enjoy learning the trade. We're in a growth pattern right now. We just went from a smaller store to a bigger store. We're trying to obviously get our volume up, but never lose sight of keeping that quality control. Um, I still like to look at every car that leaves here when I'm here. I like to do all the estimates. I try to be on as many flat glass jobs as I can. So I guess delegating uh, would be my biggest task. So, but I got some really good people right now. I'm really happy. Man, I'm looking to kind of get out of this rut. We just started the majority of my business last year. So I have a storefront here, but I do a lot of work up and down the East Coast. I travel a lot. I you know, I'm kind of all over the place, and we did a lot of stores outside of our area. And with the COVID thing, I had several bids out. We're talking thousands and thousands of square feet, and all that money from got put aside and went into 6-foot stickers on the floor, plexiglass, all that kind of stuff. And going into next year, we have 9 bids out right now. Very large jobs for me, small to other people, large for me, and just trying to get those ones completed and on the board. I mean, we're just trying to get a good team and get as much work done as we can. So
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, when you let your employees, like you said, solve problems for you, find better ways to invoice and so on, like if they make a suggestion, you love it and it helps everything, they're going to make more suggestions and try to work to better things. If they feel like, what's the point? He never listens. Like that's something that you can't, once that switch has been flipped in somebody's head, it's hard to unflip that switch. And you've just basically set them on a trajectory to be the worst employee and eventually not work there anymore. Like, the second, so it really is about fulfillment most of the time. They have to pay their bills, but giving them the why are we in business for ourselves, or a lot of us are. It's because we like the finished product. We like to solve problems. So when there's people who don't want to own the business, they want to work for you for whatever reason. Give them the same satisfaction of solving problems and finishing products, and it's the same reason you like the tint. You see that finished product, it gives you that fulfillment. Michelle, Sal, what about you?
I think for us, kind of the last time we all saw each other in February, kind of our major hurdle is that we were looking to hire somebody, right? And we had that going. Had several people that I had interviewed and background checks and everything, just looking for the right person. And then COVID hit, right? And everything kind of shut down for a while here. And we just took a step back and told all those guys, this is nothing to do with you, but we don't really know where this is going. So it didn't seem like a smart idea to hire anybody at the time. Now we're kind of, like everybody else, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel and realizing that, windows still need to get tinted, pandemic or no, right? But we're also going into winter time, which is for us normally when we've had to kind of carry our employees a little bit. So trying to figure out the timing of it and, when is the right time to bring someone on and let go of some of those responsibilities and, kind of take a load off of us a little bit. So that's our thing.
It's hard to let go.
Yep.
That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
What about you, Josh, Ricky? What are you facing? You're entering the winter. You have a rather large crew. You're growing. I don't know. What's on your mind right now? What are you thinking about before you fall asleep?
Right. I mean, I kind of piggyback off what Kyle said, letting go of trying to control everything or trying to be a part of absolutely everything. Still wanting to make sure things are done the correct way, but also giving your employees the ability to, like you guys were all saying, take charge and feel like they have something to work for, feel like that their word or what they're saying is important. I would say that's probably one thing I've been working on for myself and trying to grow myself as a more of a leader in the shop. Get out of the mindset of just being just installer, kind of blocking everything out, just worrying about my job in front of me, but trying to provide everybody with like what do you need to succeed? What can I help you? What can I provide to you to help you succeed? Or if there's anything you do need, what can I do? And then even like with what Michelle was saying about bringing somebody on, when's the right time to bring somebody on? The last time we were on, we were talking about expanding our graphics department. We've been running through some interviews. We just had one the other day, which I have a question for you guys after this. Running it past my parents when after we talked to this guy, it was more likely when's the right time to bring someone in to take that leap to bring someone a full-time employee in, even though we're about to hit winter time. Which, funny enough, with the graphics world, at least what we've experienced is, yes, Tint does its typical thing in the winter, slows down a bit, but for some reason, graphics in the winter explodes. I don't know if the same thing happens with Sid, but it happens with us every time. Like our summer, we'll be decently busy with graphics, and then all of a sudden, like Tint slow down, and the graphics department will just absolutely blow up. But yeah, I mean, kind of hitting off the same thing those guys said, same kind of things for the expansion, also growing at least growing myself. And before I forget, the one question I want to ask you guys: interview. We took your advice. We set up our interviews at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m., it hits 7, guy's not here. 7:05, guy's still not here. Shows up at a 7:11, you showed up. What would your guys' response be? Because the last time we took someone on that showed up late, I was just taking it as he was a 18-year-old kid. He didn't know any better, so I gave him a shot. And within like 2 days of him working with us, he all of a sudden just like ghosted us. And after us finally getting a hold of him, just because we were afraid something happened to him, we felt bad for the guy. He was just like, it just wasn't for me. And it's like, I don't know in what world you thought it was okay just to straight out just disappear, but I'm happy you're okay. And, I'm happy he did that 2 days in, so we didn't have to waste any more time with him. But the interview with this guy in my eyes, went really well. Not necessarily said the right things, but his resume lined up. I'm gonna call a couple of his ex-employers, and see from what he's saying that they're all going to say the most amazing things about him. So I want to verify that, do a little bit more digging, but everything else lined up to where he has enough experience to where I think we'll be able to use all of that, but also is at a point in his career, in my eyes, he wants to learn as much as humanly possible, and even ended the interview with, would there ever be a time that you guys want me to learn how to tint? And I was like, for me, I love that. Like, the more you can learn in my company, the more valuable you are. I want you to learn absolutely everything. So where if someone goes down, you can step into that role, or if we're short somewhere or a big job or something like that. But the only thing that hung me up on this interview is the dude was 11 minutes late and didn't feed me a bullshit excuse. Just kind of was like, my bad, sorry, I'm late. And then we just got the interview going because we had the rest of our day to go. But that's the only thing that's lingering in my mind is that he was late. So where would you all weigh in on that?
I'll kind of take this one just because it's fresh with me. Um, I've had two guys that I've tried to hire in this year. One with like 30 years experience, one with 15 years experience. And both of them, I mean, very time oriented, got here on time, never took long lunches, never tried to leave early, just always were here, but couldn't necessarily perform the job. When I'd give them tasks, there were so many redos, there was so much of this, so much of that. And then I have had several employees that my biggest pet peeve is being on time. If you're on time, you're late. That's how I've always been, and it drives me crazy that people cannot get here on time. Oh my God, that's like a whole nother event right there. But I got a guy that comes in. He comes in like 8:05 every day. He can't get here at 8, but when he's here, he works. He does what is expected of him. He, I mean, he's here for me. He's here for my company. So with that, I would look at it and give him the opportunity to show you what he has, the value that he can bring to your company, and see how dedicated he is. I hate to say it, but if he's a few minutes late every now and again, but he's not trying to leave early, and he's getting it done. I mean, you gotta take the pros with the cons, because those guys that showed up early, man, they needed to leave early, So
Hopping real quick, a little bit more context, content now I think about it. Because he's hopping right now in between. He's pretty much being a freelance installer at the moment, because the company that he was working for that offered his job back after the COVID and everything, they didn't offer him full time. They made some promises to him, didn't keep it. So that's why he's trying to look. He wants, in his eyes, look for somewhere to start a career. So that was the only thing that kind of, like, I was like, I do want to give him a second chance. We're setting up a second interview with the guy, and in my eyes, like, that's like the next test. Like, I'm gonna give you a time again to be here. See if you arrive at this time. And if he doesn't, that's probably going to be the first thing I bring up to him is, it's the second time you've been late. Is there any reasons for this?
So I'll give you just my 2 cents, and I'll try to make it quick. So, and Kyle, you know about this, but I had our primary wraps person and some of our primary tinters in our grove. The wrap dude, he'll come in whenever he feels like it. He was salaried. He wraps. That's it. He doesn't really tint. He does some clear bra. But as you know, a wrap project, it's there. If there's a boat, if there's an RV, if there's a car, wherever the case may be, it's not a same day turnaround time. So if he comes in at 9, I really don't, me personally, I don't care. It never bothered me, because I know he was staying until 6 or until the job got done, and he's self-regulated. But that's dangerous, because then you have other people that are like Kyle that show up on time every single time. And then it starts this tension of, well, why does he get to come in when he wants to come in? So that was one. The other instance, and so that ended sore. Like, I mean, that grew to a malignancy, and it went bad. And both of those guys ended up leaving, and it was good because it just refreshed the air in the company. It was a good thing, but we didn't have to learn that lesson. We just didn't have to learn that lesson. Somebody could have told us, and we could have made adjustments. The other thing that took place is the last, and it could be my interviewing style, but the last 2 receptionists that we had before the one that we have that's been there 1 year now, the girl we shot, she was great. She came in very, very friendly, but she had showed up like 10 minutes late. And then what happened? She did exactly what that guy did. One day she just no-showed, and we're like, man, what the heck? Is she okay? And we thought she had been in like 1 week. She did 1 week of training, because we train everybody at the Elk Grove store, which is busier, and then move them out to the Roseville shop. So she went in there 1 week of training, and she was supposed to start in Roseville that next Monday, Tuesday, wherever the case is, and she just no-showed. And we're like, what's going on? Training went so well. And same thing. Oh, it's not for me. Then we had an installer. Was that the? Yeah, it was an installer. I thought it was another front desk person. Then we had an installer, and this was a family member of a very good installer with us that's always on time, always stays late, never complains, just the good type of guy that you want. Okay. And yeah, exact same thing that you were just saying, Ricky. Same thing. Came in, and he showed up on a Saturday, I want to say at 9:30, and we opened at 8:30. And it was just before 9:30. And so we warned him. And then the next Monday, something else happened. And then it was just sticky because he was actually the brother-in-law, like 19-year-old kid, of one of our other installers. That's it's his brother-in-law, so his wife's brother, right? So he didn't want to fire his wife's brother in a sense, but he came in again, and we had to wait till the end of the week, and it was just all uncomfortable. So kind of two lessons that we learned is that if they show up late, they're doing you a favor by letting you know that timing for them is not important. You were there at 7 o'clock. You were ready. You were thinking about it the night before. I guarantee it. You were looking forward to that interview. What was he doing? So that's my thing. So if he shows up to the second one and he's timely, excellent. That's great, because things happen. I personally have had an issue with timeliness, and I've had to correct that personally. And I look back at it and I say, you know what? It's my family. But, we were always raised on, everybody has to tell my mom to show up half an hour early. And then we tell her, we say it's this time. And then she ends up showing up 15 minutes late anyways. And everybody smiles about it because it's just my mom. And then it's me, and that's my family. And then Kyle knows Sid. He might be just a little late. And then everybody gives it passes. But the truth of the matter is that it's not right. It's inconsiderate. It's not good business practices. And if that's the model that you're showing everybody, they will follow that model of not being timely and doing this and that. And it's excuses. And then the excuse turns into a lie. And then you judge them. And then it turns to resentment. And then you know how that road goes. So I say that one time, cool. I can live with it. 2 times, serious talk. And then the third time, if it's just blatant and they're not reliable. But then that's the importance of, like I said, being in contact with people and trying to understand who they are as a person, an individual, having those monthly one-on-ones. That's given us insight to understand. Because what if his wife is pregnant? What if the kid is getting set up in Zoom in the morning and it's just really tough transition and they've been late for several weeks? And if you ask them, hey, what's going on, man? Zoom's just been giving me this trouble. And my kid's like grabbing on my leg when I'm leaving in the morning. And I don't know what to, you can help them problem solve and kind of work through them. But yeah, those have been my experiences. None of them with timing has ever been a good experience.
Yeah, I liked all that. So I'll tell you how I was kind of looking at it. And I even told Ricky, I was like, all right, we kind of like this kid. Let's do 6:30 next time and let him know he needs to be on time. That way there's no hope. Let's go earlier and really make it known. Hey, it's our fault. We weren't real clear that we need you to be on time. And it's kind of I don't know. This kind of actually goes more into Sal and Michelle's issue with hiring, and even ours right now going into the winter, COVID. This is for everybody out there. Do we know that the economy is going to maintain for however long with all these people out of work or whatever? We're busy right now, but there's no guarantee for tomorrow. It might sound opportunistic or whatever. I'm also kind of looking at it right now, like even this guy that we interviewed, he's only available right now because of COVID, right? So there's a lot of really employable, hardworking people out there right now that are probably out of work for no fault of their own, might be looking to change career fields. And they're going to understand if coming on board, when you bring them on board, like, look, hey, we're bringing you on right now because we're busy right now. But obviously, there's no guarantee the economy is going to stay up with what we've got going on with COVID. And, clearly this year has been unpredictable. So I think bringing someone on right now is, as long as we're upfront with them, let them know, like, hey, we're growing. We need someone on board. We want to make you part of the team. But obviously, like, if things slow down, you're the newest person on board. You're probably going to be the first person to go.
So here's the thing. I think with that, I think it's a safe bet if for you to bring somebody on board. And I don't think you need to prep them for their firing while you hire them. The reason being, I think it's understood that if things go really bad, because it's kind of like you're on your first date and you're like, hey, just so you know, if things don't work out, we're going to stop dating. And they're like, yeah, I know. So let's. So what I'm getting at is you're willing to carry them through the winter. You know what winter is. You're not going to drop them on a week basis. Meaning if you have a slow week, you're not firing them. It's going to be if shit hits the fan, come spring and summer, there's a terrible economy and so on. At that point, anybody's going to understand being let go. He's probably not going to be the only person let go. But if you have a few slow months and he's a great person, you're going to willingly take money from your own pocket and pay his salary because you're not going to want to lose him over a couple of slow months. So I'm just saying I wouldn't put that as too big of a hurdle in your own mind, and take advantage of the opportunity that people are available, because more than likely things are going to be fine, and this is your opportunity to capitalize. This is the stock being cheap and you knowing it's going to work out and you buy more of it. This is when you scoop those people up. And if shit hits the fan and it's just a disaster and everything's screwed up, everybody will understand and everybody will be in the same boat.
You said it a lot better than I did.
I have a few thoughts about this guy. So, I think that his eagerness to learn is a quality and a characteristic that you can't teach, right? Some people have that and some people don't. So that's special. But then also the whole interview process is just a really elaborate way to find out, can you follow directions?
Yeah.
Right? Like, can you get here on time, and can you completely fill out a form and answer the questions I'm asking you? So you already kind of know, like, the time thing might be an issue. I think a second interview to see if he does the same thing is, probably a good idea. But at the same time, like Josh, what you were saying, having really clear expectations laid out, like if you do end up hiring this guy from the very beginning, it's like, this is what we expect of you and this is what's not okay. And if you keep showing up like happen, to just kind of like save the headaches that the other guys have been through, having someone doing it over and over again.
So, and I don't believe in hard lines. Like, I wouldn't say absolutely don't hire somebody who showed up late. Like, there's no absolutes, but I will say that most of the times, if somebody can't come to their interview on time or their first day of work on time, they are in the direction of disaster, because they're 6 months in, they're going to have reasons. They went out last night and so on, and they have reasons to show up to work late. And if they couldn't make it to their interview, I really, that's a big one. So I don't want to sound like I'm saying fire the guy or there's absolute, but they didn't show up to their interview. Who has an interview and you don't want to be there early? You're waiting in your car 30 minutes early because you didn't know how traffic was going to be, and you can't walk into that place late. And the reason I feel like time's so important is because that person is either going to be answering your phones, and phones can't go unanswered. And if that person doesn't show up, who deals with it? It's going to be you somehow answering the phone. Or they're going to be doing installations. And if they show up, when you tell your customer, hey, we have an arrival window of 7 to 8 a.m. We'll be there between 7 and 8. When they show up at 6:55 or 7:05, that customer is off to the right start. That customer is like, this guy's on top of his shit. It is the beginning of a perfect installation. If that guy shows up at 7:45. Well, what happened was at 7:25, they called in and they said, hi, I have an appointment with you today. It was 7 o'clock. Nobody's here yet and I haven't got a call yet. And you're like, let me check where he's at. And then you call him. Then you call the customer. And then you go, he'll be there in 20 minutes. And that is the beginning of the day. And that is a huge difference. And the same goes for consultations. You show up on time, they already know you have your shit together. Their whole perception of your company, their perception of how the film looks on the window, their perception of everything starts with that very second instance, because it started with the phone call, but then it's their first person-to-person interaction. So I think it's enormous. I think they shouldn't be in a wrinkly shirt. I think those sorts of things, like some of those things are expectations you have to set once you hire them. But they have to understand, here's 8 company uniforms. So you have one for every, you have to do laundry once a week. You can't give somebody 2 shirts and expect them to wash it 4 times in a week. It's probably not going to happen with, so you give them 8 shirts and you say, here's my expectation. You're always going to show up clean. It's always going to be ironed. It's always going to be tucked in. You're always going to have a belt and this type of shoes and so on. You set those expectations. They're not going to know that coming into a job for window tinting most likely. But showing up on time, what were they thinking? Like, if it's at a time, that's the time. They didn't give you a arrival window. Like,
that's the biggest thing I'm hung up on, is that the interview went wonderful, but at the same time, how do you show up to an interview that, in his eyes, trying to make set roots down and create a career for himself,
so
and then you show up 11 minutes late?
Is there a reason for you to think that you want to? This guy has so much hidden potential that you want to take him from the immature state he is and build him into more of a business value? Did he show up with a really nice wardrobe on? If you walk out to his car, was his car clean and organized, or did he show up like a schlep and then have an excuse? Because the thing is, the people with excuses get real good at him. They're real good at him, and like it's a waste of freaking time most of the time to listen to people's excuses.
Oh, that was the one thing that I was happy that he didn't try to feed me some bullshit excuse. He just said, "I'm sorry for being late." And I take it at that. As for the car, it wasn't a car. It was a motorcycle.
Okay.
So, and he was put together. He wasn't by any means not put together at all. He was put together. But yeah, that's where it's like, our next step in our interview process will be he's going to sit down. We're going to set up a meeting. We're going to add my sister and ask a couple more things of him to get those tasks done, and then come in for that next step interview. And in my mind, if he shows up late, and I don't want to tell him, make sure you're on time, because I want to see what you do. I want to see if you show up on time. Is this something I'm going to have to deal with constantly? Because if I have to tell you off the bat to show up to interview that you're trying to get a job somewhere on time, like, how much can I train you? How much can I show you? Like that.
Oh,
I mean, at least,
yeah.
you know,
You have too much to do to train somebody. Like that whole I'm going to change the type of person you are is a big investment you do for maybe your kids, but not necessarily every person that answers Craigslist, you know?
yeah.
Now we got a bigger problem too. What if he's a regular listener of the Tint Wiz podcast?
You know to step up his shit. You're either going to, he's probably going to ghost
Hey,
you.
he better be on time.
You'll either see him
He
early
better
or
be
never
on
hear
time,
from him
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
That's it. No, I do want to say this is one of the things that I love about the network and networking with, people all across the board. You see the dynamic of the different shops that, there's several people that couldn't make this just due to their jobs and things like that. But, having a shop owner that has multiple locations, having family owned operated business with the majority of their family in it, that larger crew than what I have by far. You got husband and wife team killing it all day long. Some of the other guys that couldn't make this call. One of them, he's a law enforcement guy that's retiring. As soon as he retires, he's got his storefront already. He's got some people he's just hired in, and he's just going after it, basically working as much as he possibly can right now. But hearing everybody with the same problems but coming at it from different angles is what this is all about to me. I love just calling each one of these guys. I have another business venture that I'm going on, so I'm kind of calling some of these people and like, hey guys, what do you think about what I'm doing? But just getting the feedback from every different perspective. We all have the same common goals, but we're all coming at it from a different direction. But this network, and there's obviously more people involved. Each one of these people on this call has multiple other people that they talk to, but we all try to bring everything that we learn together and just build each other's shops. I'm going out to California here soon. I'm about to come out to Sid's new shop, and we're gonna we won't talk about everything we're doing out there, but I'm hopefully gonna go out there and have some good ideas for them. We're gonna talk about some things, create some new opportunities out there. And, I've been out to Las Vegas and seen these guys at least twice. I still haven't come and seen Sal and Michelle. I'm making my way out there one of these days. But no, the camaraderie of everybody having the same wants and the same needs, but just coming at it from different directions. I mean, these people that are in your network become some of your closest friends. Just because we can't see each other every day doesn't mean that I don't shoot them a text on their birthday or congratulations on your baby, whatever it is. It's just I don't know. I love these guys, and I just wanted to, after listening to everybody kind of talk, because we don't do the video thing. I feel like we need to get up on our game and video some. But I mean, you can't beat this type of network. I mean, you have all successful people right here willing to share what they've taken their whole life to learn and give it to you for you to put to use. You know, my shop would not be where it's at today without these guys. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm doing the physical work to do it, but without their ideas, their push, you know, just their camaraderie, it wouldn't be as good as it is now. So I just wanted to kind of stress to everyone, you know, listening and stuff, the networks that you build are key to your success. I mean, you got to get out there and make these connections. You got to meet these people, you know, try to teach them something, try to learn from them. Mm-hmm. But build your family, build it strong.
Absolutely.
But
Well, I think with that, you know, there's a big opportunity, obviously, for people to get together with their network. Josh and Ricky, you guys put this together. But in general, like, you know, you put together your own network of friends, but I think there's an opportunity, obviously, for window film manufacturers to maybe do something like this. Maybe not streamed publicly, but just privately for their dealers to join in once a month, maybe the first certain day of the month. So it's every month consistently. And it's just like, you know, at the Lumar meetings, the Formula One meetings, like, you know, the last day, there's always a breakfast and it's like a round table. They throw around a mic and it's kind of this. It's what are you dealing with? What questions? What do y'all? And like everybody always says, that was the best part of the entire meeting. And you know, obviously everybody's willing to do some video these days. I think it could be replicated on a monthly basis, and would really how could it hurt? You know. So thank you all for putting this together and for being a part of it, taking the time out. I know it's a busy day for everybody, so taking a couple hours and doing this and sharing your business, I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you. Thanks
Appreciate
for
having us.
It's good seeing all you guys, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll wrap this up then. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks for joining and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.